Right. Good evening, members, officers, members of public, and people who will be watching us at home. And welcome to the first planning meeting of 2024. Can I ask all the members and everybody to put the phones off, please, or put them on silent? Right, we have a slightly technical hitch, so we're going to start a bit late, but the meeting is going to be recorded. Okay, item 1, apologies for absence.
Apologies from the Mr. Farhan. He's no well.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, any more, Ben?
And we have advance apologies from councillors Bowering, Foote, Lukey and Todd. So 5 altogether, Chair.
Right, thank you. Item 2, declaration of interest. Members? I had a couple of emails from members for item 4, supporting it, obviously. Anybody else? Yep. Yeah, same email you received. Thank you. Right. Minutes of the meeting held on 7th of December. That's from pages 7 till 11. I'll take both accuracy and methodizing together. Anything? Page 7, page 8, 9, 10, and 11. Nothing? Agreed? Thank you. I can sign that. Ready?
Yep, it's there, Chair.
There you go, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, item 4, Science Park temporary marquee. Do you, Matthew?
That's right. Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Rees. I'm the Head of Development Management. So this application is for a marquee within Scion Park. I'll start off by saying the reason it's in front of you tonight is not because of level of objection. It's because it's a departure from the development plan, which is one of the clauses that requires it to come in front of members of the planning committee. It's a departure because it's proposing a semi-temporary marquee structure within metropolitan open land. So first of all, I'll start off by showing you the site, this existing site plan. So this is Scion Park with Scion House basically in the centre of your picture there, the square structure. On the left-hand side, you can see the proposed location of the temporary marquee. And then I'm going to go through some pictures. You're obviously looking at Scion House, but to the left, you can see the green structure. So the green structure is the marquee as it exists currently. It's been around for around 16 years. They keep getting temporary permission and then coming back to renew it for an additional period of time. So this is what it looks like at the moment. It's kind of evolved over the years. So each time it comes back for a planning application, they amend it slightly, which has ended up what you've got at the moment. So it's meant to be more of a discrete structure as it stands. Much of that's to do with it appearing green. So there are obviously it's an important setting. It's a historic park. It's metropolitan open lands. It's a Grade 1 listed park, and also there's key views of it from Kew Gardens across the river. So they've adjusted the proposal slightly. So what they've done is they've turned it at a 90-degree angle, and I'll show you why within this plan here. So they believe that by altering it at a 90-degree angle, there will reduce the impact on the Scion House from this key view. That's only really alteration from the previous years. So essentially, it's in metropolitan open land, so they need to demonstrate very special circumstances as to why they can have it here. The very special circumstances case is based on the revenue it produces being used towards the upkeep of Scion House. And within the report, it does list the benefits that have historically taken place over the years. So money is generated by the marquee, events held in there, and money is put into the maintenance of Scion House. In addition to that, we're suggesting it's a relatively discrete structure, which isn't particularly imposing on the metropolitan open land or the listed buildings. There are various clauses in there to ensure that it operates within certain hours at certain times, up to 50 events a year. They use the existing car park for activities. So yeah, that's the reason why we're suggesting approval of the application, and I'll leave it at that if that's okay.
Thank you. Questions for Matthew? Yep. Councillor Stroud.
Thanks very much, Matthew. You say it's been there for 16 years and they've got this sort of like rolling. Is there any sort of little caveat in there that if it stays there for, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years, that it sort of opens the door for a more permanent structure? Is there any danger of that?
So no, because we have a requirement after 10 years for it to be taken down again. So yeah, if a structure is in place for a period of 10 years, then it can de facto gain the benefit of approval through the lapse of time. You're quite right. But there are conditions in Section 106 is attached to that requiring its removal after a period of time, which protects us from that.
Yeah, hi Matthew. I've read in the document about this being a temporary structure, and did I read a year, or could you just clarify on the temporary nature of this structure going forward in time, please? Building on what Councillor Stroud just said, thanks.
So first of all, it's a demandable structure, so it would only be up between the months of May and September. It's like for summer events, hence that's part of its temporary nature. It's demandable, so obviously you can take it down on site and they restore the grassland afterwards. So during when it's not used, it's normal grassland. And then again, temporary nature is that it would only have permission for 10 years, so that's kind of a temporary planning permission. So that's what we mean by a temporary structure.
Okay. Any more questions? Yeah. Amy?
Just a really quick one. Is there any difference in the events that they're suggesting having? Is they're suggesting a change of use, which I don't know is necessarily planning?
Well, we don't plan out the nature of the events. We control the nature of events that happen. So, I mean, it's used to things like weddings and such and that kind of thing. I don't think there's no intention to have a drastic change to the events that are being planned. But yeah, as I say, we've kind of crafted conditions to try and make sure that it's not causing harm to the residents or the host property building.
Okay, Councillor Bowling.
So I've got two questions. One's on the sustainability section, and it reads here that given that the marquee is temporary, May, September, there's no requirement for sustainability measures. And also noted it's going to be powered by an on-site generator, probably the dirtiest, most polluting thing. And I'm just concerned, it's had permission for 16 years, and the amount that the planning's changed in terms of net zero in 16 years is massive. I imagine the amount it's going to change in 10 years' time is massive. It's a bit disappointing considering they've got a lot of land that's not viewable. They didn't consider putting in some solar panels for power. So there's a question there about that, and then also if it would be possible, if the committee's minded, to change the 10-year permission to something like a 2-year permission, with the understanding that we'd expect them to come back with a renewable energy solution. And then a more minor point on recycling. These events of up to 500 people can generate more waste than an average resident would in a year. And the only thing it says here is catering clients are encouraged to recycle. So can we give that any more teeth?
Thank you, Councillor. So the possibly frustrating answer in terms of sustainability is that there's a threshold above which we can really impose ourselves on the sustainability of the building, which is in the London plan it's set as major developments, which this isn't. So in terms of what we can and can't control around sustainability, it kind of falls below this threshold of which we can start to refuse applications. Sorry, that's fine.
So perhaps on major developments, but you know, I had a resident who was trying to build basically a flat on the side of his house, and this is about air source heat pumps, which isn't what I'm suggesting here, but he was told by planning department he couldn't put a gas boiler in, he had to have an air source heat pump. You know, he came to me about it, I spoke with officers, and they said, look, we declared a climate emergency in 2019, we can't go around doing gas boilers. And I agreed with the officer. It just seems strange that, all right, fair enough, it's not a major development, but if a resident trying to build a one-bed flat has got to play ball, why don't they?
So I think it's going to slightly to do with A, the temporary nature of it, and B, it's used during the summer months. So it's very difficult to nail down what the carbon impact of this is going to be when it's not going to need heat during summer months. It's unlikely to need lighting, significant amount of lighting, or indeed cooling, which is what you generally need from a residential property. So yeah, have air source heat pumps to heat it, need natural ventilation and such. I know I'm not giving you a satisfactory answer here, Councillor, other than the fact that because it falls below this threshold, it kind of prevents us from exercising the level of control that I think you're trying to ask for here. In terms of the 2 years, Jimmy gave me a look, so I'm gonna look back at you. Sorry, Jimmy. Here. So the application is for 10 years. Technically, what we're supposed to do is consider the application presented in front of us and then approve or refuse that application. Are you suggesting that there's a legal? Sorry.
To do it in the public. I was just concerned about it's certainly not the same application. You're almost rewriting. This is not a wholly legal view, but you're almost rewriting the application. But if you think in policy terms you can, but I don't know how much investment would have gone into this application. Is it a new tent, for example? And so it completely would change the application from the applicant's point of view. We need to be fair as the local planning authority, which you are tonight, in that application. That was my concern.
Sorry, so and you'd need good reasons to do so, so you would need to put forward the reasons why it would be 2 years instead of 10 years.
Then there's a recycling point, and in your view, the concerns about the lack of sustainability and the lack of addressing the carbon footprint, would that be a reasonable view? In terms, recycling point, you're quite right. The wording of the condition can be firmed up. We had hoped to do it through addendum. If not, then we can quite happily vary that condition to change the wording to state it has to be recycled. They have to provide us with information, so we can be firmer in the wording of that condition. That's fine. Because it falls below that threshold of what we can control in terms of sustainability, my suggestion is that we don't have reasonable grounds to reduce the temporary nature of the permission, because there isn't that policy hook for doing so. So that's my suggestion to planning committees. I don't think we'd be able to do that.
Okay. Any more questions? Right. Open for debate. Anybody proposing anything?
Close acceptance.
Sorry?
Close acceptance.
Okay, can you do that? Microphone on, please, yeah?
Propose approval.
Yeah, anybody seconding? Okay, it's been proposed and seconded. Sorry. Yeah, Alan Mitchell seconded it. So it's been proposed and seconded. So I'll take a vote in favor of the application. Oh, unanimous. Against? None. Abstention? None. So it's been approved. Thank you. And item number 5 is on page 34 to 77. Let me have a look. Okay, this is High Street, 115119 High Street, Hounslow. And this application is presented to Planning Committee to seek authority for officers to negotiate and enter into legal agreement to come into force the appeal, if his appeal is allowed. Okay, who's taking the Matthew?
It's me again here. So just to be clear, so these next two items, they've already been decided under delegated authority. We have delegated powers to refuse applications. I think we've been through this before, and we just don't have delegated powers to refuse and then enter into Section 106 agreement. So this first one is 115 to 119 High Street. There were 9 reasons for refusal: sustainability, standard of accommodation, impact on neighbours, scale. We are asking for authority to enter into a Section 106 agreement to fight the appeal that has now been submitted for the application.
Quite straightforward, I think. Any questions? Are you happy with that? Everybody's happy? Agreed? Okay, thank you. And we have a similar application, which is item 6, 147161 High Street, Hounslow. Matthew, again?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Much the same situation. This time, we've only got one reason for refusal, which is affordable housing. So I may well feedback on how this application goes. So this is, again, 147 to 161 High Street, 55 new homes, 6-storey developments. We refused the application under delegated powers, so we are asking for authority to enter into a Section 106 agreement to fight the appeal that's been submitted.
Again, any questions? Agreed? Thank you. Addendum report, there was nothing there, was it? Addendum report, I haven't seen one.
No, the addendum is on everybody's
Right.
desk. That was just a small addition.
Okay. So item 8, I haven't been informed of any other urgent business. Item 9, the date for the next meeting is 1st of February 2024. With that, I close this meeting. Thank you for your attendance.